Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back with another Weekly United / Q&A. Hope you guys are all doing well. We have entered the winter break and I feel like after this whirlwind of a season, after this roller coaster of a season, I say a season, it's been 6-7 years since Sir Alex Ferguson left us. We've been going through a roller coaster. We deserve this winter break. Yet I go online and I still see United fans arguing and moaning and complaining about the same things that we've been moaning about for the last 6 months. Pogba this, Pogba that, Ollie this, Ollie that. Give it a rest. Use the winter break to refresh your batteries, recharge your energy. Or should I say recharge your batteries and refresh your energy. See, I definitely need the winter break. And having said all of that, I'm going to answer your questions about Manchester United right now. So, I've already gone and broke my promise to myself this winter break not to talk about Manchester United. That's because we're here on AdamMcKola TV and I asked you guys if you wanted me to answer any questions yesterday and you said yes please and fired in plenty of questions for me to get stuck into. It's been a mad week though, hasn't it? We beat City but went out of the League Cup. That was disappointing. Matic with a fantastic goal and then getting sent off. It baffled me, that decision to send him off. Look, the second yellow card was a definite yellow. The first one I thought was harsh. It was a foul. It wasn't a yellow card, especially when you consider some of the other fouls that went unwarranted with a yellow card throughout the game. And you see Rodri getting booked later in the second half. He should have already been on a yellow if we were going by anything that Nemanja Matic got. So it was pretty frustrating in that aspect, but it was positive in terms of we beat City again at the Etihad. Ollie got another one over Pep, but we just didn't have enough to get it over the edge, and we lost it in the game at Old Trafford, unfortunately. But that's all been forgotten because of the transfer day window. We knew that Bruno Fernandes was coming in and that was confirmed and sealed and dusted and happy days. We got Bruno Fernandes in and we saw him in his debut against Wolves. He looked pretty decent, taking a lot of shots, trying a lot of things with his passing. He seemed to be a focal point for the team now. I think a lot of it was his debut, so the boys were just like, yeah, let's see what he can do. And it'd be nice to be able to share things around a little bit, build up play so that he can find the right moments to get on the ball. But he showed you and he showed us what he can offer to the team, and hopefully we can get a better shape around him and use this winter break to start working on some patterns of play, working on some a system that will work around him and bring the best out of him as well, and bring the best out of the other players, because at the moment it seems too clunky, and you could say that that's down to the fact we don't have much time in between games to prepare for matches and to train and work on new things, but some of it is basics and we need to improve at that massively. But Bruno Fernandes coming in was great to see, despite the fact we drew 0-0 with Wolves that day, and thankfully that should be the end of United playing Wolves, although we'll probably go and get them in the Europa League next round or something like that. Nevertheless, we did make a deadline day move and it was for Odion Ighalo, hence the Nigeria shirt right here. Lo 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 lo, Odion Ighalo. That's the new one. We have to get that popping because Radamel Falcao never made it happen. And if he can get more than 4 goals, he's done better than Radamel Falcao. Now, it was a shock to everyone. Great to see that he's a Manchester United fan and he's always wants to play for the club. So at 30 years old, it's a dream come true for him. But the last few years he's been out in China. He's been, one of the top scorers in China and he's been scoring goals regularly. But it has been the Chinese Super League and it's not as competitive or as physical as the Premier League, and it's going to take a difficult and a different amount of time for him to get adjusted to that. His last game was about 2-3 months ago, so he's coming into it. He's probably going to need a whole kind of pre-season, which is probably why this break is great for him, and to meet up with the team in Spain or Marbella or wherever they are at the moment to get going with that. But it was a shock signing. Kind of makes sense though. We haven't paid much for him. I think we're pretty much paying like 100 grand a week of his wages and paying a small loan fee. So in terms of the risk to go without a striker signing, I think it was a massive risk, and bringing him in, look, it's not ideal. You look at the decision making of the board and the not replacing the players that left in Sanchez and Lukaku. Yes, we brought Mason Greenwood through, but we can't rely on a young kid. We've seen as soon as there's an injury to Rashford or Martial, the front line falls apart. So bringing him in, and he's a different kind of striker, does make sense. It's a short-term deal. He's going to be wanting to absolutely kill it so he can hopefully get a long-term deal. And I think it's kind of like a win-win situation. If he doesn't do well, you get rid. And if he does do well, you've possibly got a shrewd signing on your hands. So not a bad signing at all on the last day, but we shouldn't be leaving it till on the last day of the transfer window to get loan signings from China, which are only happening because of the coronavirus outbreak. So it shows you where we are as a football club. But we have to get firmly behind him because he is a Manchester United player now. And hopefully he'll be a success. He was half decent in the Premier League under in that partnership with Troy Deeney at Watford. So let's see if he can find that form again. What doesn't help though is people like Mark Bosnich coming out talking about he could have the same impact as Eric Cantona. Jeez, I know that Eric Cantona was a shrewd signing and he didn't have the expectations when he arrived, and he helped bring along a young team and lead them to success. But come on, man, do the guy a favour and not put so much pressure on him, Mark Bosnich. Have you been on the white stuff again? Come on, man, give him a break. So we now approach this winter break, and of course it's going to be an interesting one. 17 days without football. Looking forward to the break, but I know after a week I'll be like, damn it, I need my Premier League fix. I need my Manchester United fix. But we've got the break. The players need it. We've had a thin squad that have been, played an awful lot, had a lot of minutes under their belt, and hopefully they can go away and work on things. But right now we're going to get stuck into some of your questions. And the first, as always, we got questions on transfers. A lot of them will be transfer based, and the first few are quite similar. So I've got questions here from Non-Stop, a whole load of underscores, and so that's who I got questions from right now. What positions do we need to sign in the summer? I think it's clear if Odion Ighalo is not the long-term future, which I wouldn't expect it to be. Then again, it is Manchester United. We'd need someone to fit into that forward line. Give us a different option up there. I think we need something out on the right wing. Daniel James done fantastically well when he arrived, still adjusting to life at Man United. He was a signing at 15 million that you'd come in and expect to be a squad player. I think he's played an awful lot of football, so I'm not blaming him for this, but I think we need an improvement on him there at right wing. Defo needs someone in that front line to help out with Martial and Rashford and getting the goals, and obviously helping out with Mason Greenwood. Maybe someone a little bit older, but definitely you need someone in there. And then in midfield, we need we've got players now. Look, with Pogba, I don't think he will stay, and one of the questions that we'll answer later is in relation to that. But if he stays and Bruno's there and all that, Fred, we've got players that will be looking to provide creativity. We need to get a little bit more steel in that midfield. McTominay's there, yes. Matic isn't going to be around for much longer, so we need to get a midfielder in there that does the combative work and helps keep things ticking over. So we definitely need to invest in midfield. And obviously what's happening with centre halves, Rojo's gone out on loan, probably made that permanent. What's going to happen with Bailly? We've got Lindelof, Maguire, Twanzebe, Phil Jones is probably going to leave. So do we need to buy someone at centre half? Possibly so. At left back, obviously Brandon Williams, you want to see him given opportunities there. Ethan Laird, but is Luke Shaw the future? Not in my opinion. So I think we need someone in defence as well. But I say about 3-4 signings minimum in the summer, depending on outgoings as well. You could be needing more, but this is Manchester United and we don't make things easy for ourselves in transfer windows, do we? And they've got that old excuse if there's an international tournament, so don't get me started. This is the winter break, remember, I'm supposed to be relaxing. All the underscores says Grealish or Maddison. I'd take both, but Jack Grealish, I just think he's got that arrogance about him, that kind of, he's got that he takes a lot of weight on his shoulders. I'm not saying Maddison's not used to pressure and all those things, but just think Jack Grealish has got something about him that says he's a Man United player. I think Maddison has that as well, but you're asking me either or. Jack Grealish. Non-Stop, another Grealish question, says, do you think our ability to sign him is contingent on Villa going down? I don't think it is. He says, should we be hoping for them to go down for this reason? I don't think it is dependent on that. I think he'd probably love it if he helped keep them up and then got his move rather than left on them going down. But I don't think it's dependent on that. I think he'd probably say, yo, got you to the Premier League. If he keeps him there, I've helped keep you there. Now let me go and make my move. Because he was going to leave a few seasons ago, remember? So, yeah, I don't think it is. Away Sally says, do you reckon Pogba will stay during the summer? And if he don't, who do you think we should replace him with? Me and Steve were talking about this on McKola and House and Uncensored. I hate saying my own name. And look, I want Pogba to stay. I don't think he will. If he doesn't stay, who do you think should replace him? I think Bruno Fernandes will become that main creative figure, and ultimately, again, it shows you where the problems lie. And you're going to get me stressing on the winter break that we've needed a midfielder. We've brought in one in Bruno Fernandes, and he might actually turn out to be the replacement for Pogba in the long term, which is frustrating because we need to build a midfield. When you look at the options Liverpool have, City have, and we need to be getting to compete at that level. They've got multiple options in creativity and defensive-minded options in midfield, so we need to have them options there. I don't think we will replace him. If he leaves, I can see us investing in a midfielder, but like I said earlier, a more combative type midfielder, and then you'd probably see like a McTominay or a new signing in a midfield with Bruno and or Fred, and I think that could probably be what we see going forward. Then you get Jack Grealish or someone of that ilk. Again, you're filling in those attacking areas so that, you know, these players can focus more on the midfield, but I don't think we'd replace him directly, which is disappointing. Nate Floors with a great question says, do you feel that any of our previous post-Sir Alex Ferguson managers should have been given more time, or were they all rightly sacked? Let's go through them one by one. David Moyes, at the time, rightly sacked. I think there is an argument to say, you know, he needs more time to implement the kind of changes he would have wanted, but it was clear he was out of his depth, and some of the decisions he made earlier on probably didn't help him, but I feel he was sacked at the correct time. After that, you've got Van Gaal, sacked after winning the FA Cup. I think the timing of it was wrong, and I think he did some very good things when you look at the likes of Martial, Rashford that he implemented into the team. You know, we were pretty competitive in the bigger games, but then there was a dreadful period in that December, and the football wasn't great. I kind of understood the decision to sack him, but it's always been a scattergun approach with United to transfer signings and managers. Then Jose was a completely different kind of manager, albeit a you know, a disciple of that kind of school of Van Gaal, but he comes in, he wasn't backed correctly, so I think the board made wrong decisions in helping Mourinho get things right. But I think at the time he was correctly sacked, could have been sacked earlier. And now we're here with Oli, and with Oli, I think there's some questions about him later, so I'll mention it later, but it just feels like they're probably lining up a man to come in the summer, bring him in and replace Oli, which might not be the worst thing, but it's a bit snide. Jay Quinn says, will we win a trophy this year? Love the vid, thank you very much, Jay. Will we win a trophy this year? Well, Premier League title race is unfortunately over. We're out of the League Cup at the semi-final stage. We're in the FA Cup. We've got Derby or Northampton to get to the last 8. There's still very, very competitive teams in there, so that one is up in the air. Europa League's a possibility. Still some difficult teams in there. I like to be positive, so I'll say yes, but I'm not certain on that. In fact, I'll say no, and I usually get things like that wrong and hope to be wrong, so no. Dylan says, when we get all our injured players back, and if we're lucky and not get much more, let's say we keep Pogba, Rashford fit, will we get top 4? The problem for us is it could be out of reach by then. Let's say we draw or lose at Chelsea. The gap's not going to get much closer. Spurs have jumped ahead of us now, Sheffield United, I believe as well. It's difficult to get top 4, even with the squad we've got. I don't think so, but you never know. If Odion Ighalo hits the ground running, Bruno Fernandes continues to impress, we get Pogba, McTominay back, you never know. Teams are dropping points, but I don't think we're going to get top 4, and that's not a me thinking, oh, let me say it to be wrong. I just genuinely think that. I hope I am wrong though. Sonny Kasang says, what do you think about Diogo Dalot on the right wing? Possibility in the short term. I think Daniel James is looking burned out now, and this break could do him really well. But it's an option. Obviously, at right back, we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka there, and you know, he's looking like he's making that spot his own. I think there's question marks over him going forward, but he is improving as the season's going on, and I feel sorry for him a little bit because he's almost a one-man right wing at times. But yes, he's an option there, Diogo Dalot. And he's a different option to Daniel James. He'll try and chuck in a step over, beat man down the outside or in the inside. Daniel James is very one-dimensional. When it works fantastically well, but it's very readable as well. Nick says, with a full squad, all fit for a larger part of the season, how do you think United would have done? Top 4 or right around where we are now? I think we would have had probably a few more wins on the board. I think we would have been 4th, you know. Genuine, like with Pogba, with McTominay, with Marshall at the start of the season. I think we win some of those games that we've drawn or lost. Genuinely, we still would have had some bad results. You know, things haven't gone to plan, and some of the things have been Ollie's fault. But I do think we would have had at least 2 more wins, being the top 4. Carter says, do you really think Ollie is the right man for the job? I've seen no progression. We're close to 14th, then to 4th. It's getting worse. Do I think you say, do you really think Ollie is the right man for the job? Like I've said, he's the right man for the job all along. I said at the time I was unsure about his appointment. You know, permanently didn't make sense to me. Nevertheless, he got the job. So I'm going to support him. I'm a Man United fan. I want United to be successful. I don't want United to fail just so I'm proven right and I can say, oh, I told you Ollie wasn't the man. I want United to be successful. And I love Ollie. Yes, that's because he's a club legend, but of course, if you've seen that man take us to the places he's taken us to, you'd love him too. And I think he deserves our support. Is he the right man for the job? I don't think so. But I do think he's done some good things as well. And I think ultimately the next manager will benefit from the short-term pain, maybe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has taken, getting rid of players, not replacing them, bedding through some younger players, you know, giving the likes of Martial a chance to play in that number 9 position on a long-term basis, which is needed. Yes, he's had a dip recently, but he needs that. He's a young player. We've seen it with Rashford at the start of the season. He had a dip in form and now he's refocused and he's getting back on track and he's better again. And now we need that from Martial because yes, whilst they're young, they're also at that age where they need to start getting that consistency as well. So yes, the next manager will benefit greatly from some of the things that Ollie's done. He's got some things wrong as well. I have seen some progression in certain areas, and I've also, like you said, seen no progression in terms of the style of football and the way that we play. I don't think we have improved in that aspect much. But then I also feel Ollie could say, well, I haven't had the players. But then you could say, well, you need to do better with what you have and coach something. So it's an interesting question. I've never said he was the right man for the job though. I have always supported him and always will while he's here. And I don't think it's just getting worse. I think we have to go through some pain for it to get better in the long run in terms of flushing a lot of shit out of the squad. Whether Ollie's the man or not to take us forward after that remains to be seen. I don't think he is personally. But like I said, he's got my full support while he's here. Get behind him. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. Keeping it locked throughout the week as well. I know we said we've got to have a winter break from all this stress, but I'll keep it locked with loads of content coming your way because I can't help myself. So thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, share and subscribe. For now, I have been AdamMcKola. This has been the Weekly United and the Q&A. What's that? Fly? No. Little fluff. Jeez. I'm out of here.